Welcome back, guys. In this video, we're going to set up the chase sequence for the enemy. So when the enemy sees the player or detects it, if it's in range, it's going to start chasing the player continuously. So even if the player runs away, the enemy is going to chase you as long as it's not confined by some sort of obstacle in the way, which in this case, there is an obstacle. So it's going to stop the enemy from going beyond this point. But as long as the player is within range, the enemy is going to continue to chase or go near the player to attack. So we're not going to do the attack sequence in this video. We're going to do it in the next video. I simply want to make it very digestible and break it into different videos so it's easy for you guys to follow along. So in this video, we're simply going to do the chase sequence only, guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the animator. We're going to do the animator stuff first. So let's go to the animator, right? So in the enemy animator, we should already have an idle state and a walking state. You should already have that. We've set that up before, so I'm going to assume you guys have followed the same steps. Now what we're going to do is, guys, we're going to introduce a new parameter over here. Go to plus here, go to bool. We're going to simply say is detected. That is a new state that we are introducing to the animator, right? So which means we got to drag in our running animation here. So if you remember, when we set up the enemy, we brought in a couple of animations. So one of them is actually a running animation. Let me see if I can find it. So that was breathing, reaction, running. There we go. So I'll drag that in. Guys, the reason we have a running animation, let me just remind you, is simply because when the enemy sees you, you kind of want it to react, right? You don't want it to just keep walking slowly like it did with the patrol, right? You kind of want it to behave in a different way because it's an enemy. It detected you to that enemy. You are the enemy, so it kind of has to react and then take action. So it increases the urgency of the game as well. Kind of puts the game in sort of an action state as well. So you feel that difference. You kind of want that to happen visually. It's really important. So the enemy goes from just walking and idling immediately to running, right? Just increases the urgency. And the other thing we're going to do with the script is that we're going to try and close that gap, right? So that if you remember, there's a detection range and there's an attack range, right? So enemy, when it detects you, it has to get into the attack state to start shooting you, which means it has to quickly get there. So we need to run, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to draw some transition arrows from idle to walking. So it can detect the player from either one of these. It could be walking and it sees you, or it could be just idling and it sees you. So which means we got to draw two lines, right click, make transition to running, right click, walking to running, right? Click on this, and then the condition is detected is true, turn off exit time. Same for this guy, turn off exit time, plus is detected is true. Meaning it can now transition into running state, right? It'll never go back to those two. Like I said earlier, in this course, we're not going to do a switch between detection state and again patrol state, right? We're simply going to do, it's going to patrol, sees the player, goes into a continuous attack mode. That's what we're going to do in this course. That's the basic portion of this. And I want to keep this course as simple as possible for you guys to understand the fundamentals, right? That being said, guys, we're done with the animations. Pretty easy. We're going to save this. Let's go to the script. I made a couple of changes already. I'm going to walk you through the changes so it's easy for you guys to follow along. The updated script for enemy AI is down below. Feel free to copy that and put it in code. Let me just walk you through the changes. No changes up here, guys. The change is in update. So in update, guys, I've added a new state here. So earlier, you just had the patrolling here. But now we have a new condition for sight in range, attack range, chase player. Let me walk you through that. What it does is, basically, when the player is in sight range, which is that sphere on the outside, the yellow one, as soon as it detects you, it starts chasing you, right? So if the player is inside and not in attack range, still not in attack range, it chases you, right? In the next video, in this next lesson, we're going to do the attack range. When the player is within the attack range of the enemy, it's going to start attacking you. That's the next video. In this, we're just going to do the chase. That's it, guys. The other change over here is at the bottom. I added a new method here called chase player. In this, guys, we are increasing the speed of the agent to 5 instead of 2.8, I believe is what we said. It's up to you. You can set any value you like, but we're increasing the speed simply because it's running now, right? So which means you can't have a running animation and still walk at slow speed. You got to bump up the speed as well of the agent. So we bumped it up to 5F. and we are changing the animator Boolean state to is detector, which is exactly what we just set up. We're turning that on. We are setting that as true. And then we're changing the current state, which is basically the states up here, which is patrol by default. We're changing that to combat, right? And we're changing the destination to player, meaning it's going to always chase the player. Now, earlier in the patrol state, we set the destinations as patrol points. But in this lesson, we are setting the chase sequence to basically switch the destination to always chase the player. Wherever the player goes, it's going to try to chase you, right? As long as it's not confined, as long as it's not sort of blocked away from an obstacle. I think it makes sense. All right, save this, guys. That's about it. We're simply gonna run this game, and it's gonna do its thing. Now let's try it out. I'm gonna just get detected, and as soon as it gets detected, ooh, look at that! It's gonna try to get to me, but obviously it struggles to do that because there's a little obstacle there. It immediately detected me and now tries to close the gap and then tries to get near me. As you can see, it tries to get near me and tries to get into the attack range. Once it gets into the attack range, guys, it's going to start shooting. Obviously, we don't have a shooting. That's why it's kind of confused right now. It's just constantly running and trying to close the gap only. So in the next video, guys, we're going to have a attack mode to this. So this guy is not going to be confused like this anymore. He's going to start to get near you, stop, and then start shooting. That's it for this video, guys. The new updated script is down below. I'll see you guys in the next one.